It's late at night. Your phone buzzes. A message from someone who once made your world spin. You pause, heart racing. Should you answer? Should you leave them on read? You remember the fights, the disrespect, the lies. But something inside wants to reply, wants to fight, wants to react. Now ask yourself, why? Why do you let people pull your strings like you're a puppet? Why is your peace so cheap, so easily stolen? Every time you respond in anger, every time you clap back, every time you explain yourself to someone who doesn't deserve it, you're handing over control. This is exactly what they want, your emotional obedience, and you're giving it away like it's nothing. Comment untouchable if you're ready to stop being manipulated again. Because this message is your wake-up call, your turning point, your permission to become a fortress, a quiet storm, unbreakable, unbothered. And before we go deeper, subscribe. This channel exists for one reason, to change your life. And if you want more people like you to hear these words, supporting the channel helps keep this message alive. Number 1. Stop letting people control you. While you're walking through life trying to build yourself into something unshakable, the world is testing you with everything it's got. Disrespect from a woman you gave your all to, passive-aggressive comments from your so-called friends, your boss trying to undermine you in front of others. These aren't coincidences, they're control attempts, emotional traps designed to see if you'll fold, if you'll give them what they crave, your reaction. The second you react, you validate them. You give them what they couldn't get on their own, power over you. They couldn't build themselves, so they want to break you. They can't match your peace, so they want to pull you into chaos. Every time you lash out, chase after someone, explain yourself to someone who doesn't value you, you lower your status, your standard, your soul. You become easy to manipulate. And deep down, you know it. You feel it when you argue with her and she smiles. You feel it when you text back in anger and immediately regret it. You feel it when you lie awake at night, overthinking every interaction. That's not strength. That's slavery, and you weren't made to be a slave. You were made to lead. You were made to move with power, not react in weakness. The world is chaotic, but you don't have to be. The modern man is drowning in emotion because no one taught him how to master himself. They told you to be more emotional, more expressive, more reactive. They lied. Emotional intelligence isn't crying on command or sharing your trauma with everyone. It's knowing when to speak, when to be silent, when to walk away, and when to stand your ground. She tests you with attitude, not because she wants a fight, but because she wants to feel your strength. She wants to know you won't fold. If every word she says moves you, she loses respect. If every glance from another man triggers you, you've already lost. Emotional control isn't just attractive, it's essential. In every relationship, whether with women, family, or business, the person with the most control sets the tone. And if that's not you, you're at their mercy. When she ignores you, will you chase? When he insults you, will you bark back? Or will you stand tall, still, and unbothered? You must understand, every emotional outburst, every defensive comment, every attempt to seek validation is a red carpet rolled out for manipulation. You give people a blueprint of how to break you. Stop showing your weaknesses like trophies. Start treating your emotions like treasure, guarded, sacred, and only shared with those who've earned it. Stop running toward people who disrespect you just to prove you're not weak. Strength is found in restraint, in silence, in walking away when staying would be self-betrayal. In today's world, being a man who doesn't react emotionally is revolutionary. It terrifies people because they can't read you, they can't shake you, they can't figure out how to control you. That's the man they remember. That's the man they respect. You want to be respected? Start with self-respect. Respect your peace enough not to trade it for petty validation. Respect your time enough not to waste it proving yourself to people who aren't even qualified to judge you. When someone disrespects you, you don't argue. You remove access. When she pulls away, you don't chase. You create distance. When they mock your ambition, you don't debate. You show results. You don't need to prove anything with words. Your silence, your growth, your control, those are your weapons. Ask yourself right now, who's pulling your strings? Who gets under your skin the fastest? That's who owns you. And unless you cut that cord, you'll always be their puppet. You'll keep giving your energy to arguments, to fake friends, to exes, to strangers online, and wake up wondering why you feel drained. It's because you've been bleeding through your reactions. Stoicism isn't emotionless, it's self-respect. It's understanding that your energy is limited and you don't waste it on what doesn't elevate you. Start today. The next time someone tests you, don't respond. Observe, walk away, move in silence. The next time she tries to trigger you, smile, say nothing, and let her feel the weight of your absence. The next time life punches you in the face, don't scream. Take the hit, analyze, adjust, and keep moving. That's power. That's control. That's the man you were born to be, not a reactor, a creator. You create your peace. You create your boundaries. You create your future. You're not a victim unless you allow yourself to be. They can't touch you unless you hand them the weapon. So stop handing them your buttons to push. Destroy the panel. Become a man they can't manipulate. Not because you're cold, but because you're calculated. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much to waste energy on things that don't matter. You want to win in life, in relationships, in business, master yourself. The game is rigged against emotional men. Don't play it. Rewrite the rules. When you stop letting people control you, you start controlling your life, and that is the beginning of everything you've ever wanted. The woman who respects you, the life that excites you, the mind that doesn't torture you. All of it begins with this. Total control of your reactions. That's your leverage. That's your edge. That's your freedom. Number 2. The mind of a king is unbothered. There's a difference between the male who reacts and the king who calculates. A man who's mastered his mind is terrifying because nothing moves him unless he allows it. She pulls away emotionally. He doesn't panic. She flirts with another man in front of him. He doesn't flinch. His friends betray him. His business fails. His plans collapse. And he stands there still. Not because he's numb, because he's trained. Because he understands that panic is the language of boys, but stillness is the language of leadership. Ask yourself, when she gave you the silent treatment, did you chase her, or did you let her taste the silence you built from discipline? When you felt jealousy rising because she complimented another man, did you confront her in insecurity, or observe her like a chess master anticipating the next move? The truth is this. Women test men constantly, not because they're evil, but because they're biologically wired to feel safest around strength. And nothing screams strength louder than a man who isn't easily shaken. When she disrespects you, most men yell, argue, beg. They think that showing emotion will earn her back. But every raised voice is another brick removed from the castle you're supposed to be building. Every argument is a signal that she owns your peace. And if she owns your peace, she owns your future. A king, on the other hand, doesn't need to raise his voice. His presence alone commands correction. He doesn't have to demand loyalty. His standards remove the disloyal. That's the kind of man you become when you stop being moved by every flicker of temptation, disrespect, or discomfort. The modern world wants to see you break. She posts thirst traps to see if you'll bite. Society mocks masculinity to see if you'll back down. Your friends challenge your limits just to watch you crumble, and every time you react, they win. But when you remain unmoved, when you keep building, when you keep grinding in silence, you become untouchable, because a man who has mastered himself is immune to the chaos outside him. And don't think for a second this is easy. You'll feel everything. The sting of betrayal, the ache of being misunderstood, the burn of being overlooked. But kings don't run from pain. They stare it down and use it as fuel. When your girl tests your masculinity, understand it's not the moment to prove it with words. It's the moment to embody it in silence. When your competitors talk down on your dream, don't react. Outwork them, outlive them, outgrow them. That's the strategy of the unbothered king. He doesn't seek approval. He doesn't chase validation. He's too focused on the empire he's building to worry about peasants yelling from the sidelines. And if you want to walk this path, you must start by controlling your internal world. Wake up and create your calm before the world gives you chaos. Build routines that anchor you so deeply in purpose that nothing outside can drown you. Discipline your body until your posture speaks louder than your words. Audit your circle so deeply that only those who sharpen you remain. Every king has to kill the weak man inside, the one that seeks comfort, attention, permission. That version of you has to die for the unbothered one to rise. You already know this. Every time you've reacted emotionally, you felt the shame. Every time you've chased validation, you felt the emptiness. So now it's time. Time to become a man of few words and deep thoughts. Time to speak less and move with purpose. Time to stop being a reactor and start being a ruler. Because the unbothered mind is not a luxury, it's a weapon. In a world that wants to exploit your emotions, a calm mind is your greatest defense. In relationships, in business, in life, ask yourself, what shakes me? Who owns my emotions? And how long will I keep giving them that power? Take it back today, because the mind of a king is built, not born, and it starts with choosing stillness over shouting, purpose over panic, presence over reaction. Be the king she can't manipulate, the man they can't provoke. Number 3, nothing should touch you unless you let it. Everything that breaks you begins the moment you believe it has power over you. She walks out the door, and suddenly you spiral. She gives you a dry tone, and your whole day collapses. You see her watching another man, and now you're second-guessing your worth. But pause. What exactly gave her that power? Was it her action, or your belief that her action should mean something about you? When your peace is determined by anything outside of you, you've already surrendered. Not to her, to your own emotions, and if your emotions own you, then anyone who knows your buttons owns your life. Stop handing people access to your mood like it's free. Stop giving them a remote to your nervous system. That look she gave you, that silence she hit you with, that was a test. She's watching. Will you fold? Will you break? Or will you carry on like a man who's built for storms? Because no woman respects a man she can mentally shake. If she knows a certain tone will ruin your week, she owns you. If she can pull away for 24 hours and have you begging on your knees, she owns you. And no woman wants to keep what she controls. She wants to admire what she can't move. That's where your power is born. When you can stare down disrespect and not move. When you can hear chaos, but your soul stays calm. When you choose reaction, not instinct. Not because you're numb, but because you're disciplined. And this discipline isn't fake. It's forged. In solitude, in suffering. In the moments you want to scream, but instead you breathe. You feel everything, but you give nothing to the outside world unless you choose to. You feel the betrayal, but you don't act on it. You feel the anger, but you don't let it speak for you. That's real strength, not suppressing it, containing it, channeling it, using it. So ask yourself, what touches you? Her leaving, his disrespect, life not going your way? Or is it your refusal to let go of emotional comfort? because this is where men fall. They expect the world to make them feel better instead of taking control of their interpretation. Pain is real, but suffering is chosen. So what will you do with the next moment she disrespects you? Will you chase, explain, argue, or will you let her feel the consequences of trying to shake an unshakable man? You want her to respect you. Be a man she can't destabilize. Be the eye in the hurricane, not the debris it throws around. When life slaps you, take the hit, square up, and move forward. That's the kind of man they write about. That's the kind of man you were born to be. But to become him, you must destroy the man inside who seeks reaction. The one who believes every slight is an emergency. The one who can't breathe without a response. Let him die, so the man who walks in silence, who chooses calm, who owns his energy, can finally take over. Nothing should touch you unless you allow it. And that allowance, that's your choice. That's your discipline. That's your freedom. Number 4. Your emotions are not public property. You've been told your whole life to open up, to express everything you feel, to wear your heart on your sleeve like it's some badge of honor. But they never told you what happens when you give people a map to your soul. They weaponize it. She sees how you react when she withdraws, so she does it more. She knows silence breaks you, so she uses it as punishment. Your boss notices you crumble under pressure, so they test your patience to feel superior. And you keep bleeding emotionally in front of an audience that's not clapping. They're taking notes. You think vulnerability means being real, but what you're doing is showing your hand before the game's even started. You're not being brave. You're being predictable, and predictable men are easy to break. You vent your anger online. They label you bitter. You confess your heartbreak to her. She loses attraction. You whine to your friends. They stop respecting you. Not because emotions are bad, but because you gave away the most private parts of yourself to people who never earned access. If a man doesn't protect his emotional state, he invites manipulation. And that's exactly what happens today. You feel hurt, so you type it out. You feel frustrated, so you snap at her. You feel lonely, so you call the one who shattered you, just to feel something familiar. You think you're healing, but you're handing out weapons to everyone around you. Understand this. Your emotions are sacred. Not everything you feel needs to be broadcast. Not every wound needs to be displayed. Keep your struggle sacred. Keep your growth private. Stop seeking applause for pain management. You don't need the world to validate your healing. You need to respect it enough to keep it for yourself. When something breaks you, retreat, don't explode. Recalibrate, don't announce. Not everyone needs to know why you're quiet. Some silences are royal, some mysteries are powerful. Learn to be okay with being unreadable, with being misunderstood, because when you're unreadable, you're uncontrollable, and when you're uncontrollable, you're untouchable. In a world obsessed with expression, restraint is a weapon. A man who doesn't react to every trigger is terrifying. He makes people question themselves. He makes her wonder what she did wrong. He makes enemies rethink their attacks. That's power. But to earn that power, you have to shut off the leaks. Stop trauma dumping on everyone. Stop thinking therapy is tweeting sadness to strangers. You want to heal. Get quiet. Get focused. Feel it in silence. Process it with purpose. Channel it into legacy. That's how kings move. And if you want to be respected like one, start acting like one. She shouldn't know what keeps you up at night unless she's earned the right to hold that knowledge with reverence. Your friends shouldn't know every dark corner of your mind unless they've proved they won't use it to elevate themselves when you're down. Respect starts with boundaries, and boundaries start with you protecting your emotional energy like your life depends on it, because it does. The next time you feel the urge to react, pause. Ask yourself, does this deserve access to me? Is this person a safe container for my soul, or are they just curious to see me fall apart? You'll feel the answer. And that answer will tell you everything. Be the man who speaks when he chooses, not when he's triggered. The man who shares not to be seen, but because the moment is sacred. The man who isn't emotionally available to everyone because his presence is earned. That's the difference between being used and being valued. Start today. Audit your emotions like a king guards his vault. Stop oversharing. Stop emotional vomiting. Stop seeking approval for your pain. Learn to be quiet. Learn to smile when you're hurting. Not because you're fake, but because your peace is real, and it's not for sale. Number 5. Master the art of emotional detachment. Emotional detachment isn't apathy, and it's not coldness. It's discipline in its purest form. It's waking up every day and choosing your focus over your feelings. It's seeing her mood swings and not letting them derail your mission. It's watching people walk away from your life and understanding that not everyone is meant to stay. Detachment is choosing clarity over chaos. She'll test it, withdraw her affection, ignore your texts, talk in circles. Your old self would chase, beg, overthink. But the detached man observes. He doesn't react, he redirects. Because emotional detachment is the art of protecting your power from emotional predators. It's realizing that not every insult needs a comeback. Not every tear needs an audience. Not every disappointment deserves your despair. You think you're being strong when you pour your heart out. But strength isn't about exposing your pain to people who don't respect it. It's about transmuting that pain into progress without losing your center. A detached man is not unreachable. He's simply not for everyone. He's not easily available because he knows his energy is currency and the wrong people are thieves. Women feel this energy. She'll throw storms at you to see if you'll shake. She wants to know if you'll compromise your peace to maintain her presence. But the more detached you become, the more powerful your presence gets. She respects the man who stays calm when she's chaotic. She trusts the man who doesn't react to every emotion she expresses, because deep down, she wants stability, not a mirror of her instability. When you master detachment, you become dangerous to manipulators. You don't flinch at ultimatums. You don't respond to emotional traps. You don't crumble when she pulls away. You focus harder. Your value rises the moment you stop needing reactions to validate your strength. So how do you master this? Start by training your nervous system. Sit in discomfort without flinching. Delay gratification. Build a life so full of purpose that her silence is drowned out by your momentum. Detachment is created by repetition. The more you remain calm under fire, the more your brain rewires itself to normalize peace. You detach by removing expectation. She doesn't owe you love. The world doesn't owe you fairness. You don't deserve peace. You build it. Detachment doesn't mean you don't love. It means you love from abundance, not addiction. It means you can love her deeply, but walk away when respect dies. It means you give, but never beg. You stay, but never chase. You feel, but never fold. And in today's world where men are taught to react, to validate every emotional impulse, mastering detachment is rebellion. You walk different. You talk different. You carry silence like a sword. You become unpredictable, not because you're erratic, but because you're intentional. You can look her in the eyes while she's trying to provoke you and see straight through the performance. Not because you're heartless, but because your heart is protected. Detachment makes your energy rare, and what's rare becomes valuable. So stop giving everyone access to your emotional switchboard. Stop broadcasting your every feeling. Stop reacting to everything that shakes the average man. Become immune to chaos. Become a force of order. That's what true detachment builds: power, presence, and peace. And once you master it, you won't need to explain it. Your life will speak loud enough. Number 6. Act unbothered because you are. Acting unbothered is not pretending. It's remembering who you are before the world tried to convince you to be something else. It's stepping into situations knowing you don't need approval, applause, or validation because your self-worth isn't rented. It's rooted. Every time she tests you with disrespect, indifference, or emotional games, you don't flinch, not because you don't care, but because you've already chosen your peace. When life throws pressure, rejection, betrayal, you walk through it unfazed because you've seen enough chaos to know it doesn't deserve your energy. You used to care too much. You used to chase explanations, overthink her silence, beg for clarity, panic when you were misunderstood. But now, you've seen what happens when you give your emotions away to people who only collect them like trophies they'll forget by morning. So you stopped performing, you stopped explaining, you stopped playing games with people who were never on your team. You realized that emotional control is the most masculine trait a man can master. And when you act unbothered long enough, you stop acting, you become it. You train your nervous system to stay calm in storms. You build habits that anchor your focus. You develop standards so high, disrespect can't reach you. You become the man who can sit in silence and let her unravel her own chaos without lifting a finger. The one who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't plead. He simply walks away and lets the absence speak volumes. That's what drives them mad. That's what makes them regret. That's what makes them wonder. Because indifference backed by self-mastery is not fake. It's fatal. It kills the need for external reassurance. It murders desperation. It buries the weak version of you that needed a reaction to feel powerful. And when she says you've changed, you smile. Because she's right. You stopped giving your attention to drama. You stopped allowing bad behavior just to keep someone close. You stopped accepting the bare minimum. You're no longer the emotional ATM everyone swipes when they want validation. You're the vault. And not everyone gets the code. So ask yourself, do you react when they push your buttons? Or do you dismantle the panel entirely? Do you fall into old habits when she pulls away? Or do you double down on your focus, your fitness, your mission? Do you respond out of ego? Or do you move with strategy? Every reaction is a gift. And you owe nothing to those who haven't earned your respect. When you act unbothered, you force people to look inward instead of distracting themselves with your drama. You become the mirror they fear, because your calm reveals their chaos. You become the standard they can't reach, because your silence demands self-accountability. So, yes, act unbothered, because you've already buried the boy who needed closure. You've already walked away from the man who explained too much. You've evolved into something colder, sharper, wiser, not because you're numb, but because you've learned that emotions should be used, not spilled. And the truth is, when you start acting unbothered, the right people step up and the wrong ones fall off. The fake friends go quiet. The attention seekers lose their power. The manipulators can't find a way in. You stand in rooms full of noise and never lose yourself. You sit across from disrespect and never lower yourself. You walk through fire and never announce it. Because kings don't shout. They reign. And when you carry yourself with that level of detachment, that kind of composure, that unapologetic mastery of self, every room adjusts to your energy, not the other way around. You've been broken, ignored, underestimated. You've been the man who overreacted, overgave, and overlooked his own value. But now you've seen the truth. You've walked through every fire of your past mindset in these words, and now you know. You were never meant to be controlled by anyone else's approval, emotions, or chaos. You were built to stand when others fold, to remain calm when the world screams, to hold your power like a sword drawn only when necessary. You were untrained, but now you've seen what happens when discipline meets emotion, when Stoicism becomes second nature, when detachment becomes your daily armor. You are no longer the man chasing closure. You are no longer the man explaining his worth. You are no longer the man trying to earn the love of those who don't respect it. You are the wall they can't climb. You are the man who commands presence without noise, and from this moment on, you act like it. You speak less, you move deeper, you build more, and the world adjusts. You don't need permission to grow, you just needed the mirror. This message was it. Now make it mean something. Comment, "I am unbothered" below if this message cut deep and you're ready to rise and transform your life. And if you want to support more men seeing this truth, support this channel, because when you support this movement, you help another man out there rise from the version of himself he's quietly trying to kill. Share this, save it, watch it again if you must. The world doesn't hand you peace, you build it.